What's going on, and welcome to the Stick Drift Podcast, a podcast for all things cars, racing games, motorsports, and more. Massive apologies for this episode of the podcast being a bit late, where honestly, my PC's been very much arguing with me. The cable that I use to transfer files, that's been bugging. Sometimes it just switches off my gaming PC, or maybe that's a completely different issue, but sometimes it's just stopped working. And then when I started importing it, sometimes it wouldn't have audio, and then I had to import it on the M.2 instead of the SSD. It was a whole thing. Okay. Apologies for being late, but here's the episode. By the way, next episode, we're going to talk about how I almost got hit by a car today. So, yeah, tune in next episode too. Enjoy. 1,000 subscribers on the Stick Drift Podcast channel. Yes, Episode 18 is the Gran 1K sub special. And by special, we mean it's special. It's a special episode because and of course then after we So it's the special episode. Welcome back to the Stick Drift Podcast. As the intro states, the podcast for all things car culture, racing games, and motorsports. And there's been a lot in all three of those fields this week because it's the return of F1. The season is beginning very, very soon. Next week. What is it, like testing or like the?
It's for pre-season testing at the minute.
Pre-season testing has begun. We're going to be talking about that in Motorsports Monday at the very end. We're going to be talking about big news in gaming as Forza gets its second expansion revealed, the trailer released. Well, it's big news by default. It's not big. If it was any other, if the Crew 2 announced the same thing, it wouldn't be big news. But but Forza had that. GT7 had an update. That, to be fair, that's probably going to stay in the gaming segment. We'll talk about the Forza update, but GT7 they can stay in the gaming segment, which will also be by the end of the episode. And in car news and vehicle news, we see new spotted images of the Nismo, the Nissan Z Nismo, the Toyota BZ4ZX, the most definitely fake car that we have talked about, if you haven't been watching the podcast.
They still trying to convince everyone it's real. Yeah. It doesn't
exist. New information on an EV version of the Volkswagen Golf. Big stuff from Peugeot with a wagon and a sedan. And, hey, Peugeot be making good cars out of nowhere. As well as, there's motorbike news. Zero Motorcycles. Is the name of the brand Zero. Zero Motorcycles announces the futuristic SRX concept.
Yeah.
I think it looks kind of cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie, it looks
cool, but they're never gonna make it.
No. EU Parliament allows low-volume automakers to sell ICE cars after 2020. My light's flickering off and on, which doesn't have any effect to the audio listeners. So you go about your drive.
Audio listeners. Quite disheveled right now. And the fact the lights flickering.
ICE cars after 2035. Now, 2035 is the EV limit, right? That's what that sounds like. So I assume it's just who calls it an ICE car? What's an ICE car? That's what I want to know.
Internal combustion engine.
Oh, petrol. That makes sense. Oh. Well, as long as it's an ICE car. We got the exhaust of the Dodge. Well, I guess we can talk about that. We can play that, right? The sound of the exhaust.
I'm sure everyone's thrilled.
Talking about being thrilled, a longer VW ID.Buzz.
Vauxhall for the long wheelbase version.
The Corsa redesign has been revealed. It's just a mocha, but tiny.
It's the Astra, but smaller. They're all the same now.
But yeah, it's the Astra, but bigger, and then the Astra, but smaller. So then we've got the Kia spec potentially leaked. Oh, it's a Kia. Who cares? More stuff on the Volkswagen Golf EV. In fact, two articles with two different prices, both that I think do round out to that same amount. And again, obviously, so that's what we're going to be talking about: gaming, all of that. Leave a comment on the podcast. Watch the I mean, we've hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo!
It's just watch time now, so watch over and over and over and over and over again.
Watch the podcast. Maybe even comment down below how many times you watched it, you know? Comment if you watched it at least 50 times. Unless it's against...
watch thumbs up emoji would be
exactly,
a banger comment.
Yeah. You can give us progress updates. Just on my 7th watch, the voices are really getting grating by now. But yes, obviously watch time is the one we're waiting on. Again, unless it's against YouTube terms of service, in case you don't do anything we're on about. But if it isn't, then do, you know?
Exactly. Make sure you yourselves read through YouTube terms of service.
Exactly. It's not us. I mean, it's not on us. Also, shout out to Sequov FX and LMR11, both of which claiming to be the 1,000th subscriber. So one of them isn't. Yeah. So one of them isn't.
Participation award for whoever isn't, I guess.
Exactly.
They both win.
You know, they also get they can get a thumbs up is what they can get. So before we get into the bigger newses of the week, thus I guess Forza. I know you probably won't let me get away with calling it the bigger news, but the Forza expansion.
Even clock, to be honest. it's Forza. Its brain shuts off.
What happened to the drag thing? Because weren't they going to be doing a drag thing?
Both are awful ideas.
Yeah, both kind of suck. Like, it's impressive how both are kind of bad, but we'll get onto that. Come on now, watch time, okay? Come on now. So, we can begin with, I suppose, the Volkswagen Golf. If you don't know the Golf, what are you doing watching a car podcast? The Volkswagen Golf, I would say an iconic car. The Mark 1 for sure, and then the more recent one. I don't like the most recent ones. The most recent ones...
I don't know, the newest one, the 23, doesn't look awful. It looks like a Golf.
No, because of the goofy looking front. I don't like that front. It's a bad looking front. What are the headlights on that? Let me put it up on screen for the video listeners. Video watchers, I guess, and listeners, preferably.
It's not helped by the bulbous bonnet Astraf because he had a street of safety regs.
It's what's it called? If I go to this generation, much better, much
those
nicer.
wheels on it.
Okay,
not on this one you want now. The one you just showed. Remove one spoke.
Yeah, that's also that's a risky thing to go with, for sure.
Personally, a choice I wouldn't make. But...
especially on a German car, you know. Maybe not the best of ideas.
They're looking for a new controversy after Dieselgate, I guess.
I mean, yeah, true. They need Summit. And I mean, hey, Kanye might buy one, you know, so it may be a net positive.
It's
the free promo, right? If Kanye buys one, that's free promo.
There's no way everyone looked at that and signed off, and not one person.
Yeah.
Saw that, but sure.
But there's new information on a Volkswagen Golf, but this time around EV. This is from Autocar. The image is most definitely just a render. But this is from Autocar. The Volkswagen Golf is set to be reborn as a £20,000 EV with the GTI also expected to go all electric. So that makes sense. The GTI is just a buffer version of the normal one. So that makes sense that they both would. And, I
don't get where they're cutting costs.
What is this? This isn't... that's an ID.3. Okay, so that's not the Golf. Okay, good.
No.
I was going to say.
There's no way they aren't on the same platform, though, because how are they going to save costs making a completely new platform?
Yeah, because having it at 20... So, it's actual price that they've been given? Okay, this makes more sense. Target price...
It'll be 28, I reckon. Because they would target out 22.5.
Yeah, 22.5 euro.
There's no way they can get it to 22.5.
Yeah.
28, no, 28 is what I reckon they can get it to. But...
the euro and pound are a lot closer than I remember. They've not been that close. Like, that's very close. But it's a Golf. It'll sell, I reckon, especially at that price range. But how much can you buy like one of these Golfs for nowadays? I wouldn't know.
A GTI is like 35.
35.
That's what I mean. I don't get where they're saving costs.
There's no way a completely new remove
the alloys, I guess. Remove It's going to have to be like, basically made out of plastic.
Unless they just don't bother with a visual redesign and just do an internal change.
But they have less than 5% profit margin as it is.
Yeah, yeah.
They can't, even if they lock the profit margin off, they can't just slap a battery pack and a motor in it and make money.
Long term, I mean, I'm fully playing devil's advocate.
It's going to have to be an ID.3.
Yeah, but long term, it might the margin might be a bit more on an EV, so they might be justifying it like that. Because obviously the R&D, the capital that's going to be going in straight away, most definitely going to not be made back with a 20k selling price. But I assume it's got, I don't know. I'm trying to get into the head of a Volkswagen executive. I can't tell what they're doing, to be honest.
Dieselgate is what they
exactly. Yeah.
Please forgive us, please.
It's electric gate is what it is. It's actually like when they're testing it, it's got like a little set of double A's. But then as soon as it leaves the lot, just like a V, just like
it's
a
got a
V8.
big gay W16 in it somewhere. Just
exactly. I wouldn't put it past Volkswagen. It's just a normal rotary engine, but they put a case around it and just put like and that's all it is. That's the whole thing. But a Golf EV, it's got a place for sure. No, I definitely say it's got a place in the market, right? Cheaper EVs, obviously, well, whether this thing will be cheaper or not when it actually comes to consumers. But cheaper EVs are a thing that's needed just because if we reach 2035, which, yes, I guess is 15 years from now, God, we're going to be 35. That doesn't feel like we'd be that old, actually.
It's 12 years away, so...
Yeah. Oh my God, it's not even 2020, is it? No, yeah, it's 12 years away. We'd be 30. We'd just be in our 30s, and all cars are going to have to be EV now. But, oh God, that is so long away still, though.
It really is.
That's an extra 50... We'd have to live 50% more of our life to get there. But I'd say there's definitely a place for the cheaper EVs. We've still got a lot of time.
What does the ID.3 cost? Because if the ID.3 is like 29-ish,
yeah,
I can see them cutting cost on that and just renaming it Golf.
Because what I'm referring to is stuff like, you see the Merc EVs and you see the Audi EVs, and none of those are justifiable if that's the only car that you can buy. Yeah,
it's £36,400 starting price. Where are they shaving almost 10 grand off an ID.3?
I mean, like you said, they might use the ID.3, but then just put a hatchback body kit on it, right? Just put a hatchback body on it.
10 grand? You got they're not making 3 grand profit on them.
No. It's gonna be really weird to see where they actually make the money from, and when it actually comes to as consumers, because we've still got 2 years. We are in 2023, right? I think we're in 2023.
Unless it's going to be co-developed with another company.
Oh, yeah, true.
Because the only brands I know who can make a sub, like, Citroen can still make sub 15 grand cars. No. And I don't know how they do it. So
Volkswagen own enough companies that, like, one of them would probably be able to front the cost.
They own big companies. I don't think Bentley or Audi are going to combine to make a cheap car.
What? No. I would 100% see a Bentley collab with a Volkswagen Golf. Come on now.
What?
Where's a Bentley? You know what? Bentley's, they made SUVs. Where's the Bentley hatchback? I think I speak for everyone where I say, where is the Bentley hatchback?
Well, Aston Martin made one, so no, that'd be a bang.
Is there an Aston Martin hatchback?
The Aston Martin Cygnet, however it's called, for the C.
Cygnet, these nuts.
Cygnet, these nuts.
Martin...
It's a Toyota Aygo, but it's got an Aston Martin badge.
I probably spelt it wrong. Oh,
it's spelt awful.
Oh, Cygnet, I guess.
Cygnet, yeah.
Oh, that looks disgusting. It's not.
You don't want to buy that.
That's real?
Yeah, I've seen them about. They exist.
It looks like a smart car. What is that? Oh, that's disgusting.
You don't want the Toyota Aygo with an Aston Martin badge on it.
Oh, no. Talk about shitting on a legacy. Oh, dear. What is that?
They had to make it to get past EU emissions regulations. Because you have to have fleet emissions below a certain amount.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Aston Martins aren't good at that. And they're not Lamborghini. So they can't pay off the EU. So they built this to get their average.
No. That's terrible.
People bought them as well. They're like 40-something grand and people bought them.
It's like Floyd Mayweather boxing Deji. It's like you get Floyd Mayweather, King of Kings in boxing, and he fights Comedy Shorts Gamer. This is the Comedy Shorts Gamer of Aston Martin, is what this is. That's shocking.
The ultimate flex that you could say you're at an Aston Martin and then put up in the
Exactly, yeah. Yo, just bought an Aston Martin. Cost me less than a Freddo. Like, what? That's shocking.
I think they're still worth a few bits.
Well, I
Yeah.
assume they didn't make too many of them, right? Because if they were just making them as a fleet excuse, I assume it was just
people bought them is the issue.
Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
were cheap Aston Martins.
And I
but
assume now they're not cheap Aston Martins.
they're like, I think you can get for like 8 to 15 grand still. But that's way too much for an guy.
Yeah, but it's still very cheap for an Aston badge.
Like they just put chrome mirrors on it into different wheels.
Yeah, that's terrible, actually. No, that is terrible. The chrome mirrors look so bad. Essentially, for the audio listeners, just literally picture a smart car with the Aston Martin grille on the front. That's all it is. Like a V12 Vantage grille on the front, and then it's just a smart car.
It looks so weird with such a short wheelbase. Like it doesn't look real.
Oh, that's terrible. I want to see one of those, actually. I'm upset that I haven't seen one
Someone
of
in
those.
Hitchin has one parked outside the Aston. They must live there, but it's funny.
But of course, yes, the Volkswagen going to be going EV. Definitely a place for it. Make more cheaper EVs.
It's gonna have to be around 30 grand.
Yeah.
Shaving 5 grand off an
Yeah.
ID3 is gonna be hard.
And one thing that I kind of want to go on to from this, right? It was more just a conversation topic, right? So bear with me. I don't know if you boys agree with this. You boys being the viewers. Which, by the way, there's 1,000 of you now. Whoa, crazy. What I've got a bit of a thing here, right? So we were talking about the Cybertruck in the Discord server a while ago, like a couple days ago, I think. Something to do with. Oh, it was a render of the Cybertruck, with like a solar panel rig on it. Goofiest thing ever. Never gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I made a statement, right? You could look back to the 2010s, and the cars look themed. You can tell a 2010s car. You could look at the 2000s.
Well, cars
And
are
you
shaped
could,
by
like-
the safety regulations of the time.
Yeah,
'Cause
you could tell a
how can you make a
2000s
cheap car that conforms to these regs? Everyone basically ends up with the same shape.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest way to get past those safety regs.
And it's the same if you go back to the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. But what seems to have happened with this big EV, electric, all of that, this whole buzz, not to Volkswagen on you, but this whole sort of next gen, it feels like car companies can't decide. Like, it feels like they cannot decide whether they want to go overly round for EVs, whether they want to go overly jagged for EVs, whether they want to go really
Yeah.
sharp looking, whether they want neon lights or whether they want flat lights. It's really weird. I don't know if it's just because this is the generation we are presently in, but it really feels like car manufacturers
because
can't decide.
EVs are premium cars at the moment, so they have extra budget to mess around with styling.
Yeah, so they're all too
Because
unique.
it's not like they're making the new Focus or something where it
Yeah.
has to be a set price point and it can't
Yeah.
go over. It's like they can charge a premium, so they get budget for styling.
Yeah.
And it's just everyone has a different idea of what the styling should look like.
Yeah, you got Jeep who just who did what I was talking about with the Golf with. They
What's a
just
Jeep even
swapped
do?
in a car. They just it's still a Jeep. It's the exact same Jeep from last year, but it's got an EV thing in it. Then you get I stand by the fact that the Nissan Z looks like it was supposed to be EV.
Don't get how.
It's too modern of a jump from the look at it. What was the Nissan? What was this? The 370s.
I sent you
350s?
that funny TikTok thing, and Nissan does
Yeah.
if I'd be sleeping or something. It's like 2001 to
Yeah.
2021. The car's the exact same.
I tweeted that. I'll show that as well. I tweeted that with a caption. They really got the FIFA devs working at Nissan. Essentially, what the post was for the audio listeners, while I bring it up on screen, it was a TikTok that was like a 2008 Nissan GTR, and then here it is. So it was a 2007 GTR, and a 2022 looking the exact same. A 2009 Nissan 37EZ, and then a 2020 looking exactly the same.
The thing is, the 350 looks the exact same as a 370, and the 350 is from like 2004.
Yeah. But here's what I mean, right? If you look at that, that looks like a
It looks
gas-guzzling
so
car.
dated.
Yeah, exactly, right?
It's so round.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? And then you get the this thing. You can't tell me that this doesn't look like a petrol to EV jump. Because that looks like an entirely different generation of cars. It's got way more jagged.
It's meant to be.
The lights are different. The all of it's different. It's got that like cubic design.
It's
right?
the grille. I like if it's got a grille, it's basically EV, unless it's BMW or Audi because
See,
they're
my brain
branded.
can't tell. In fact, I saw one of those Teslas. The only good-looking Tesla, and I kind of stand by this, is I guess it's not a grille, right? But it's the one that has something at the front. It's like. Because you know how all Teslas just sort of have like a beak.
They all look the same to me. I know. I see a Model 3 and then I don't know. I don't even know what else they make. Like the Model 3 and then the SUV.
Okay, the Plaid looks okay, and then it's one that like isn't the Plaid.
The Model S or the Model 3? They're both
Model
sort of
S?
things.
I guess that just looks exactly like the Plaid is what that looks like.
The Model 3 is the one everyone has.
Yeah, that one I don't like. I don't like the front of that thing. It looks so odd. It's too rounded. But yeah, this I stand by the fact that this looked like it was supposed to be EV.
Don't forget how bad the EU pedestrian safety regs have made front bumpers look. Not front bumpers, the bonnets look.
Well, the bonnets.
Like, look how bulbous they have to be.
Yeah.
Like even on the Z, you can see it. Like where it's just.
What's the thinking behind that? What? So if you hit someone, they roll up it.
Well,
Like...
so they don't die on impact.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
They're meant to like the hood is meant to crumple. Same with the bumper. Yeah, they crumple when pedestrian hits them, so that they don't die.
Yeah, wait.
Which is why the Cybertruck could never, because believe it or not, stainless steel doesn't crumple too well when a pedestrian hits it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, pedestrian. It's you just hope for the best. Like, sure, if the car hits a wall, work around that. If you hit a pedestrian, it's just fingers crossed at that point, right? I don't know. Don't put spikes at the front of the car, and you probably like. I feel like that's all you kind of need.
You're not allowed flat edges either. Like you can see on the Golf where it's sort of got to drop down because they're not allowed unless you're landing EV and pay off the EU government.
Then, because like
no, we aren't.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that's unfortunate. And it seems like the whole jagged stuff is the thing that everyone's trying to go with. So, you know.
It's a game of how much can I push the EU to let me do it.
Yeah.
Because like the Mocha has a very jagged front, and I don't really know how they got that past. But
speaking of the Mocha, the newer generation, I don't know if this is a render. I don't know what this is. But from Autocar...
that looks exactly like the Astra, like the current gen Astra.
Yeah, and it's what the Corsa is going to look like, which makes
I'd assume, they're just
going
to make a smaller version for the Corsa.
Yeah, you know, the Mocha's a bigger... Astra, this thing's a smaller Astra. It's pretty alright. Honestly, it's kind of okay. I've finally learnt to cope with the fact that all hatchbacks will just look like Audi A1s now.
They can't really do much else, really.
No. It seems like I want to know
how
how much...
The Audi A1 is the cheapest way to make an aerodynamic, safe hatchback.
Yeah.
And it's like F1. Everyone's going to sort of eventually, over time, converge on the same idea. Because
and you're just going to see like a slightly different like a front design or something like that.
You get them starting, like front bumper and maybe like different door detents and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you'd catch on an F1 car with a different... I mean, I guess not this year, right? But with like slightly different bits around it. Speaking of cars getting smaller, cars are getting bigger. The Volkswagen ID.Buzz gets extended. That looks wildly like the Chinese market, but which I guess, that makes sense. It's funny how they didn't make a unique one. They just went, so take the camper van.
It looks like they've just stretched it. Like, it's just stretched.
They did like they Jeremy Clarksoned it. They they took two and then cut them down the middle and connected them together.
The normal one has double doors, so like it looks like but I think they're both the same size. So it's got a bigger rear door, and they've just moved the entire wheelbase longer by that amount.
Oh, And we're going to be talking about CarWow in a minute. One thing I forgot to mention in the off the jump of this episode, we're also going to be talking about renders for the new Aventador replacement, which I don't believe has a name yet. But CarWow has done some renders of the brand new Aventador replacement. It looks, we'll get onto it. But I've got a bone to pick with, I think it's CarWow, okay? And it's one of those, maybe I'm getting old and I'm like, oh, current media. But they did a news article that was, it was a render of a new BMW. And in fact, I'll grab it word for word. Right? All it was. I
wouldn't know what was going on. So.
You'll know because I talked to you about it when I saw it. It was a render of a BMW. That's all they did. They just decided one day, hey, let's render a BMW. And then the headlines and stuff in the tweet were, could have this much horsepower. Maybe it'll release this time. And possibly it'll go this fast. Where's
they have no idea.
So it's a nothing article. So it's an absolutely nothing article.
They had nothing to write about that day.
Yeah. It just seems like they looked at what was out that day to write about. And just not a single thing. It's just a non-article at that point. I need to find this. Because it was shocking. I was gonna publish it. Like, oh, that's cool. We'll publish this as in like log it for the talk about in the podcast. And it was just nonsense. It was just absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Let me scroll up to find it. The state of media. Am I right?
VW must expect the ID.Buzz to sell really well if they're making a long wheelbase version, though.
Again, like I said, this looks really Chinese market. Yeah, like this one specifically, not the normal ID.Buzz. The normal ID.Buzz, kind of cool. This one, I don't see anyone driving this in the UK. I don't even know if they'd bring it to the UK. Actually, who is this by? Whoever article this by, they might say where it's supposed to be for. But while I hunt down this BMW.
Yeah, I've got to find the article. That's that.
Yeah. We're both on the hunt. While we're on the hunt, obviously comment. You know what? If you...
Oh, it's the American version.
Oh, it's the Of course it is.
That says a lot about society.
Of course for the American version, they just made it bigger. Oh dear. America's... they've made a mini game of compensating for something. Like, I swear to you. Like, just behave,
what's
maybe.
the point? I don't get it.
You could have used the British version, right? Like, goddamn. But whatever. You know what? I can't even find this article, and you know what? I don't want to. It was on Twitter. It was CarWow's Twitter. I saw it again. So let me quickly jump over there.
Yeah, it was all a hypotheticals kind of thing.
See, this is why you subscribe to the Stick Drift podcast, where we will never have this little substance in something. Here it was, exclusive render, new BMW M8. So they just woke up one day, decided let's make up some pictures of an M8, and then let's make up some numbers. A new BMW performance flagship may be on the way. Could be all-electric quad motors. 1,360 horsepower, possible.
That's a random number. They random number generator.
May arrive in 2026. What is this article? That's a lot of ifs and buts. Like, what is this? It's so bad, man. Obviously from CarWow, yes. They did a video on it too. What was the video? Side profile remains similar. They're talking about it like it's an actual render. It's a CarWow render, I believe.
They made it themselves and were like, whoa,
yeah.
Look at this.
And just started patting themselves on the back. What a good job. This thing will go so fast. I mean, it might, you know.
I mean, if it did have 1,300 horsepower and was all-wheel drive, it would be rapid. But...
Yeah. For a BMW M8.
As fast as 2 tons can accelerate, yeah.
I swear they've been talking about this Maserati GranTurismo for so long now.
Maserati must pay everyone off. Like, I don't like it.
Something to do with 2024, so it releases next year. Returns with nearly £176,000 starting price. Is this its final model, or is it just a new model?
Maserati.
I don't know. Because I think Jag's on its final model, right, with the F-Type, but I don't remember anything to do with this thing being.
Who even owns Maserati?
I don't know, honestly. I couldn't tell you.
It's owned by FCA.
Who's FCA?
Fiat Chrysler.
Oh.
They own like Dodge and all that.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I do kind of like this car. I do like this car. It's a cool looking car. It's better than the older Gran Turismos, but you know.
I don't get who it's for though. Like, when was you saw like a new Maserati in the UK?
I could imagine someone with too much money in a house that they're paying too much for, wanting to buy one of these just to have parked outside, or to drive to like a car meet of some kind, right? And have someone walk up to them and go, "What do you do for a living?" Right? Like it's
such a weird price point though, because it's not
really high.
Quite as much as a Lamborghini.
No,
but it's more than a Porsche. Like, it's for the person who has more money than a Porsche
is really
doesn't want a Lamborghini or Ferrari. Like,
yeah. Porsche is really the I feel like Porsches are too common, right? Porsches are way too common. I guess if you wanted to go really specific and you had, you wanted a nice car parked outside, I guess this thing, but also you could do a lot better with 170 grand.
You really could.
Buy me a house, maybe. I don't know.
You could buy a lot of FCs.
Exactly, you know.
You could buy core of a house for 170
exactly.
grand.
You could buy like a dustbin in London for like 170 grand, right? Like, come on now. Think smarter, not harder. But with the Maserati Turismo. That's shocking. Revealed, speaking of new cars, revealed this week, also from CarWow. Hey, this article actually had something to it. The two Peugeots have been announced. That being it's just the Peugeot 508.
It's the 508, the new 508.
Yeah, as a wagon and a sedan.
The sedan saloon thing doesn't look great.
Yeah.
The wagon from the back looks surprisingly good.
Yeah, the wagon's kind of cool. The wagon, I think it's a bit too flat on the back. Yeah.
Like for 28 grand, I don't think you can really do much better.
I was gonna say, I mean, the wagon I like is the Audi RS4, which
the
I
RS4
think
starts at like 80.
Exactly, right. And I think the one that I always see, I think it's custom, because they've got like an Audi. It's one of the it's like a sedan, but it's one of the more bite-sized ones, like a BMW M2, but an Audi, right? It's like a bite-sized sedan. And it's got, like, canards, a front splitter, blacked out, custom rims, like, and they're always just parked outside. It's next to, like, a massive Audi SUV and the blacked out ID.Buzz. Like, this place is wild. And I cycle past it, like, semi-consistently, too.
They've never sold trucks before, so.
They used to go to, I've got a mate who works at a mechanics. They used to go to him. And then they just went, oh, never mind, and made their own mechanic shop next to their place. So they're doing well for themselves, clearly.
Yeah.
But from CarWow, the new Peugeot, I'm losing it today. Peugeot 508 revealed updated styling for the hatchback and estate, tweaking interior design, new plug-in hybrid options. Ooh. 360 horsepower for the sporty PSE
on the
sale
top spec model. Yeah.
On sale in June.
You know, it's not quick, but
yeah, I was gonna say that's very unquick. Also, what is going on with the front? I don't know how I feel about the front.
It doesn't look great on the front of the saloon. Like, it looks okay on the wagon, but on the sedan thing, it just kind of. I think it's meant to be copying their hatchback. Like, I think.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the back of the saloon doesn't look terrible, I'd say. I think
it looks much better from the back.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially with the dual exhaust on the estate.
Yeah. I kind of just don't understand what's going on in the front. To be fair, the front of the wagon looks better than the front of the saloon.
The wagon's a lot different, yeah.
Yeah, because this one has it's got like a pattern of some kind. I can't tell what's going on. But the front of the saloon, the front of the wagon's actually pretty nice. What's the 3-line thing? What is that supposed to be? Also,
Peugeot badge.
New Peugeot badge, pretty cool. I noticed a new Peugeot badge IRL recently.
It's a massive badge.
Unfortunately, it does fit under the PNG badge group though. and I can't allow a PNG badge. Unfortunately.
Well, their old logo was literally just Vauxhall, but taken out of the Vauxhall logo, so I can understand why they changed it.
And of course, they've also got the lion things. That's all I know to call them, because they did that in the adverts. They did like
it's like a teardrop thing for coming from the wrong side of the earth.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking.
They've had a good turnaround from what the old Fireway looked like.
Yeah. So you sent me an image of this thing, but then also an image of an older Peugeot wagon.
That's old. It's 2011. It's not even that old. That's the old 508.
A decade old Peugeot wagon. So 10 years, and they've gone from.
Like, I don't even know what that is. You can see the Citroen in that. Like, you can see that it's based off a Citroen.
Yeah. God, that's grim,
it's
actually.
So goofy looking.
Well, I mean, clearly just a simple modernization, which looks admittedly a lot better.
I'm not really a fan of their hatchbacks, their new hatches, but most of their other new cars look alright.
New Peugeot hatch, I guess? What's that word?
I don't know what it's called. It's probably called the 308 or something. I don't know what
this thing? I see it. I see it already. The 308. This thing. The face looks a bit too low. Is one of my.
It's suffering big car syndrome. You can see it's just grown as a car.
Yeah.
It also looks a lot like a Vauxhall.
yeah, that too. The face is really low. And obviously, it's got the Audi A1 design. It's crazy how they all just they look like
This is the 208, not the small one.
Maybe. I mean, I see another one here. That's this thing.
Yeah, 208's the small one. The 308's the. Yeah, that's the patch.
Yeah.
The small one. Like, but I see it everywhere.
It's actually like hatchbacks are becoming NASCARs. Right? Like, they're all the same except the front bumper. Like, that's basically what's becoming.
I mean, the 208 looks a lot more bulbous than anything I see about it.
Dude, to be fair, the 308's a lot closer to the default hatch now, the Audi A1
308's the default hatch. The 208 is a bulbous mistake.
Yeah, that thing's at least slightly unique for a little bit. That looks more like, what's the Adam?
It looks like a Fiat EV, but it's bigger.
Yeah. But yeah, two new, I was gonna call them Skodas. You know what, Skoda, kind of underrated. I'm gonna say it. Skoda, kind of underrated.
One of the only brands with a sport model left. So.
I mean, exactly. Right, exactly. But,
but for how much longer, because Volkswagen.
From there, I suppose, I think, is that most of the main car news? Anything worth talking about? Because now, we can go into, well, the gaming, well, not even the gaming segment, the bit of the gaming segment that isn't the gaming segment because it's a big enough bit of news that it's not part of the gaming segment. And that is Forza Horizon... No! Right before that. Haha! Like I say, the Aventador has gotten its first renders. So, you boys might know, a few episodes ago on the podcast, we've talked about how the Aventador has been being replaced. In fact, it's one of the first things that happened when we started the podcast. The Aventador got replaced. The final version got made.
Yeah, final version.
And, well, now we've come around and it's been, it's actually being replaced. And we've talked about the model it's being replaced with. And that is this thing. It's essentially the front of a Huracan with the back of... And I only realized that this is the Huracan I meant the entire time when I was talking about the back. It's got the back of a Sian. It's the back of a Sian and the front of a Huracan. Like, that's exactly what it is. With, I guess, like a higher exhaust, right? But...
I hate how much the wheels are offset. The rear wheels are so much bigger. It just looks kind of goofy.
It's like a cartoon car. But CarWow, using these images, the images of its spotted while spotted, obviously they do this to hide all the curves and whatever. We've also seen from CarWow renders of the Huracan.
It is a Sian.
Exactly, it's a Sian. Like, it actually is. From the front... Okay.
I don't like it.
I think if it looked like this...
They're just adding more and more angles. Like
the headlight's a bit goofy. How is this fitting regulations?
I was about to say, how are those headlights meeting EU regs?
Yeah, because
then I remembered Lamborghini pay them off for everything else.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, this thing can be like a V60
half of this car is
to like 2050. So yeah. I kind of do stand by what I tweeted at one point, which was, the Huracan replacement looks like you'd press a button on the back and it launches out sorry, an Aventador replacement looks like you'd press a button at the back and it launches out a Huracan. Like, it's like a toy where you'd plug a Huracan into it and then press it and it launches. But, honestly, it's a Cyan from the back.
Yeah.
But weirdly, I'd say from the front, it's a Cyan but more jagged. And from the back, it's a Cyan but more smooth. Again, if this is obviously just a render based on the whatever. Carwow love their renders, clearly. And it's pretty sick looking. I mean, well.
I wouldn't go that far. I don't like it.
It's gonna sell, but here's the thing, right? I think it just isn't as accessible as an Aventador and a Huracan. The thing with the mainline Lamborghinis, you know, they've always been doing Sesto Elementos and Veninos and Cyans and all of those ones, right? They've done those Lamborghinis, and those are always the ones...
The Urus fits the mass market Lamborghini now, though, so they don't need those.
Yeah, exactly, right? But they do those like specific ones, the really goofy looking ones, the like shark Lambos, right? And those ones, you always see way less of those than you will Huracan, Gallardo, Murcielago. And the reason that was because those were the simpler Lamborghinis. Those were the easier ones to pick up, the more iconic ones.
Gallardos have almost doubled in value recently. I don't know why, which is just an odd fact. Like, they used to be like 35 to 40 grand.
They were the cheapest Lamborghinis.
Yeah, they were cheap like Lamborghinis. Now, you can't find a decent one for below 70.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the most sold Lamborghini now as well, right? So,
or even Uruses aren't losing that much value. Like, there's not a... I don't think there's a below £100,000 Urus at the moment.
I suppose Lambo's always going to have a name, though, right? So, it's you know, they're always going to have a name.
Surprising our rates didn't follow the Gallardo train. Like, they're still 30-something-ish grand.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. But, did you get what I mean with this thing not being as accessible as the Huracan and the Gallardo? It's too... Now, sure, maybe someone will like it, but it's too specific of a design. It's too out there of a design. And it might not end up looking like this at market, but you can tell from the Spotted while Spotted that it's definitely that's what it's going for. And again, maybe... It feels like a bit of an in-between in the Spotted while Spotted. That maybe it will be okay. Maybe it will... I don't know. I've got a bit of hope. Who knows?
I don't have much hope, to be honest.
Yeah. But speaking of having absolutely no hope, we can go on to the Forza Horizon 5 Expansion 2. Josh, tell me what you think while I bring up the trailer.
That is basically my entire analysis. It's just rally, but it's going to be worse than any rally game you could buy individually. With less depth, less thought put into it. It kind of just is a waste of time, in my opinion. So,
on 1 day ago, literally 1 day before the filming of this podcast, Forza announced their Expansion 2. Is it just called Forza? Is it just called Rally? Rally Adventure is what it's called. And I guess, you know, this is the official Stick Drift trailer review, right? The map looks cool. I like the map.
The map looks interesting.
They showed some images of it, and all of the roads that aren't dirt roads look pretty cool. And frankly, the map looks pretty big, right? Like you can see big mountains in the back. It looks pretty big. And if it is actually that big, and the areas that look accessible are accessible, that'll be kind of cool. Until you remember...
Forza's biggest issue wasn't the map. It's the lack of gameplay.
Yeah.
This looks like it's going to be a half-baked dirt game.
I really feel like I'm going to enjoy driving around on this map. I like the look of it a lot. But, again, then we get onto the gameplay. The map, I would, just from the trailer, I'd give, obviously, you know, just trailer review. This is obviously going to change. I'd give it like a 9. It looks like a really nice to drive around in map.
9 is way too high.
the actual tarmac roads, they look really nice to drive on, for drifting especially. I'll give them that. It looks nice
I'd
for
say
that.
a 7 would be the top of what I could possibly rate it.
It looks like a big map. Then we've got stuff like cars, right? So the newer cars that we see in this, I don't know if this Ford is. It might be, because I think, okay, there's a bit where they actually go, new cars. So what cars come up in that? Discover Rugged, and all new Rally. Oh, that's a career. Oh, well. But they got the Forsberg Rally car. They got a bunch of rally car, a bunch of new
Forsberg Rally.
customizations. They got these... Is it a Silverado? What car is it? It's the one that's the, like, image for it. This thing. Ford. Is that the Lightning? That's what that is, right?
Yeah. The Lightning's EV. It's just like an F-150 or a Raptor. Not Raptor. The Ranger. A Ranger or F-150.
Well, it can be EV. It's Forza. And it does say Lightning on the side, to be fair.
Does it?
Yeah, it says Lightning on the livery. So that's pretty cool. Getting the F-150 Lightning or whatever.
Can't wait.
So the issue comes in gameplay. I really like the map. The map looks cool.
All new Rally Career singular is the biggest.
It's gonna be like
no words. The fact they said Rally Career singular is just. It's going to be one story.
Yeah. Well, see? I never even got past, like, the second section of races on Hot Wheels. You finished Hot Wheels. How did that work?
You not play it?
No, I can't even drive an A car.
You played, like, 5 races and it unlocked the next 5. But you can only do one in each spec. So it's like, I don't know how they work. And it was like A, S, S plus, X, or whatever. B, A...
It was something like that. It was like B, A,
yeah,
A
that
plus,
one.
S, yeah.
And there was 5 races each, and you played each one, and you unlock the next 5.
Yeah.
Terrible progression system. Long story short.
Were they all like one? Were they all like one? One continuity of events, or was it like two separate?
Think so.
I think it was like. Was it not like a Hot Wheels story? And then a certain type of racing, and then a certain type of racing.
It was like a certain race,
and you
two that was sort of related,
like,
and then an ad, and then
and then an ad, and
then you played the next one.
Yeah, so that kind of makes sense, because you're not doing the same thing every level. You're doing, well, you are, but it's just 5 different things that you're doing over and over again every level. And one of them's just, hey, buy Hot Wheels. With this one, if it's just a rally career, it's going to be really worrying. Because, I mean, I guess they've got races here too, right? So it's not just this rally thing. But what it is probably going to end up being is it's going to be, I will so get onto this event type, by the way. I've got a bone to pick with this event type, and it really annoys me. But I assume it's just going to be races, sprints, normal rally imitation, and then done. You have those 3. You do the first of each of those. Then you get the next level.
It looks like it has Rally Raid as well.
Yeah. And then you do the next level, and then you get 1 for all 4 of those. And then you do the next level, and then 1 for all of them. It's going to be boring as hell, just like Hot Wheels was. I'll probably do a video. Yeah. I'll probably do more DriftWaj than I will SidWaj on it, right? And I like this shot. This shot, really cool looking. I like the feel of it. It feels like a dirt game, basically. It just...
Like, that's the thing. It's just going to be a worse dirt game.
Yeah,
I don't get what the point is.
So, right, I need to talk about this. Speaking of worst dirt game, they've tried to imitate, when they say the rally career, they've tried to imitate the rally event type, which, if you didn't know, rally in real life, the way it works is you drive, and you have someone in the passenger seat, you don't know where you're driving. Not at all. You've never heard of or seen the track. They know, and they give you call-outs. There's a 1 through 6, which is how tight the turn is, and then it's left, hairpin, bank, don't cut, whatever, right? There's a bunch of... Surprised I know all those words. I've actually played a fair bit of dirt. But I enjoy it. It's really fun. And the whole point is that you don't know the track, but Guy gives you the call-outs, and you have to, it's last second, and, it's all high risk and whatever. In this event type, they try to do it in the most flaccid way possible, because you still have a mini-map.
It's almost as if they don't care.
Like, you've still got a mini-map, so what's the point? What's the point? Why
It's literally just a half-baked dirt rally. Like,
Yeah,
I don't get
yeah,
it.
it defeats the entire point. Like, why would I care if it's 4 left, hairpin, if it's 4 right, hairpin left, when I can just look at the minimap? What's the point? I don't understand. And then they've got it in these races too? In a race where you're racing against other AIs? It just feels like they're appropriate. They are motorsports appropriating.
It gives the impression they've done no research.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that. And it's like...
don't...
It's cultural appropriation, but motorsport appropriation is what it is.
I don't get who this is for, because if you want to play rally, this isn't rally. But if you don't want to play rally, this isn't going to be enjoyable anyway.
No, it's the island is the only like cool bit. Like and that's unfortunate. Cars, sure. Like this shot also looks pretty cool. You could just play dirt though. Most of them.
Yeah.
You know, the customizations, whatever. They look so Forza. Like, it's wild how boring the Am I crazy? Or how, like...
Yeah.
It's just like the Forza Aero, but like, whatever you call this rally thing. Where it's just one really inoffensive, default-looking type of this, right? It's one really inoffensive type of customization on
You've got a bash bar...
single
rally lights.
Yep. And then like
spoiler, like mad.
Yay! This is real innovation. Woo! Let's go. This is embarrassing.
I don't get it. Like the game's been out for over a year, by the way.
Yeah. You know what? I don't even know. I want to kind of start okay, I'll play devil's advocate for a minute. What else could they have done? Because...
anything. I don't know. Anything else. Forza's so lacking in actual concept.
Yeah.
Literally anything.
Am I crazy? Or is this another returning one, right? Like, the first Forza expansion was Rally 2, right? I think so. Like, the first ever one, Forza 2, I'm fairly certain.
They don't have any, like, touring car stuff, do they?
No proper, like, racing island, no, like, GP,
that would have been decent, like, actual tracks and stuff like that.
If they're gonna appropriate, if they're gonna appropriate a motorsport, right, rally, sure, fun, do it well, you know, do what the Crew 2 does, and go through the F1 licenses that aren't an F1 license, like Red Bull, and appropriate that, or, like, you know... Forza has so many gimmick
I'm sure
cars.
Williams would like some extra cash.
Exactly,
like, I'm sure they wouldn't say no.
Like, you know, Red Bull's gonna have to pay off their next penalty somehow. You know, why not? They've got so many gimmick cars, is what I mean, right? I swear, do they have old school F1 cars? Am I wrong in thinking Forza has... Do they not? Okay. But they've got limousines.
Well, they have, like, one. They have an old, like, pre-war
That's what I mean, right? They've got one of those. They've got, like, one NASCAR. They've got, like, one limousine. Why not just do what the Crew does? Because if you guys did it, you'd actually... Like, the Crew does it base level. They get to the minimum and then hit publish. Why not do exactly what they do and take a gimmick and really expand it, right? Like, take the limousines, really expand it. Take the old school racers, really expand it. If you need to fill in the gaps, do a home brand car, right? It's like, of all the things to just go, meh, off-road, right? It feels...
Yeah, it's just the normal races but off-road, really. And they already kind of existed.
People would love drift. Am I crazy, or people would be foaming at the mouth for drift?
I'm not really a fan of Forza's drift.
You'd call it out as well. If it was drift, you'd be like, oh, so it's just a drift update. But, again, that's what I kind of mean. Like, well, what else could they have... I mean, well, I feel like a Motorsports 1 would have been pretty cool, right? A big expansion. It would hype up Forza Motorsport 2, right? Like,
it could have been the easiest integrated collab ever made. But,
just, like, give us an island that's just, like a bunch of different racetracks,
it's
right?
not as if they don't have licenses to, like, 20 tracks.
You know, they've got a NASCAR license too, which are just out of the blue. They've got, like, an old school that they can do so many gimmicks on racetracks, where instead they've just gone, like, all of the default stuff, that nothing's new here, it's just reappropriating the cars they've already got, and then also just appropriating an entirely different game. And doing it badly, too, because there's no point.
It has, It has a very dirt art style as well, with the yellow
arrows.
orangey things that come across.
Because there's no point in them, because there's a mini-map. Like, that feels like something I'd turn off straight away, because, like,
if the arrows weren't there, it's just Forza Horizon 5 normally.
It's just a Horizon Rally event on a new map. The map is the only relevant thing here, and I kind of like the map, completely separate from the rest of everything else, right? Map, good on its own. Doesn't justify how bad the rest of it is. Some of the cars, the Ford Lightning's cool, like, I guess, right? It's kind of cool, I guess. But, I just...
Mad.
I mean, the quality's always there. Forza's a very polished game, right? I guess. Again...
You'll have fixed multiple wheel bugs, but, you know, carry on.
I'll enjoy driving around. I mean, that's the thing, right? I was talking to my barber about it, right? My barber got a wheel. Well, not my barber, the guy who, like, sweeps at my barbers. He got a wheel recently, and he was like, yeah, I love the force feedback and stuff. And he was like, I'm not sure what game to get. I might get Forza. I was like, well, the force feedback will be okay. But...
when the force feedback works, it's bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work half the time.
Yep. So I said to him, I was like, if you really want to have fun with the force feedback fighting a wheel, get dirt, right? Get dirt, whichever one I've got, I forget. But, you know, you're not going to get that experience from this either. It feels like the Crew 2. It's like the Crew 2.
It's an ivory tower level of half-baked idea that could have been good, but was no effort was put into it.
Exactly. It's taking a bit without a at least slightly unique gimmick, right? Like, the Crew takes off-road and makes it hill climb, right? This is just off-road. The Crew takes off-road and makes
I'd say the Crew 2's off-road is also quite bad.
It's bad, no, yeah. But at least they put a slight gimmick to it, right? They take off-road and make it a taxiing game mode. They take off-road and make it like I said, the hill climb. Off-road and... what are the
off-road are some of their worst episodes now that I think about
it. They really are. But, you know, they take the taxis, and they take the whatevers, and they take the sprints, and they take the police cars.
Off-road was a wild idea to get green-lighted.
Like,
who thought that was great?
Off-road police, I'd say, is the only okay thing they did with off-road. Like, the Ram police car, Helmed HX police car, those were quite cool. But, like, this feels like it's doing the most bare-bones thing you can with an idea without at least a slight gimmick. Like, imagine the Contractor, but there's not a single mention of taxis, there's not a single mention of limos, it's just used cars go from one point to another point, right? Events. A map and events is all this is.
There's no depth to this.
No,
it just
not
feels
at all.
Shallow, which it is going to be shallow.
I'm sure there's going to be voice lines. I'm sure someone's going to be like, yippee, welcome to the rally event. Did you know in 1970, Jonathan Raleigh invented rallying, you know? Like, it's just going to be that, right? It's going to be like a legacy.
For the Michel Mouton event.
Exactly, right. He's going to be like, and then Porsche, the king of rallies. Also, they paid us a lot of money. And,
Audi Quattro, Quattro.
And look, it's the Audi Quattro, an iconic rally car of its generation. You know,
they'll have an icon story playlist, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
they'll
100%.
have a Lancia,
all of those. I assume they'll have one to do with Forsberg, because, you know, they're very leaning into this car of his. By the way, the Crew had it first. You know, this thing, right, which I actually don't know what that thing is, but it's a Ford of some kind.
It's a car.
It's a car, but I've seen it in a lot of places. It's probably a Ken Block one, I assume. Ken Block did rally, right? Which I'm assuming would have been in development before his passing, so I'm assuming that's going to be adjusted a little bit, which, you know, I assume voice lines reworks, etc., etc. Yeah, I assume it wasn't with Ken Block, because I assume they would have had him in this trailer, etc., etc., right? But yeah, I mean, they've got Forsberg. But... maybe if you care even slightly, if I'm really, really bored, if I'm on a 1-week holiday again like I was at the start of January, and by day 3 I'm actually bored, I might go through the rally story, and every now and then go, huh, that's an interesting fact. And then finish it, and then completely forget I ever played it. Like, maybe. I'll drive around on DriftWaj. That's basically all I'll do. Which, if you know, you guys know, because you're all from the SidWaj channel. It's my wheel channel where I just do wheel content. I'll play on that. I'm not touching it outside of that. Because, like, I'll do one video that'll get 2K views, and, you know, whatever, right? The map looks cool, and I'm a sucker for just driving around in a map on a racing game. Like, that's all I do, basically. Any racing game I play in my spare time, I play to just drive around, basically. So, it has that for me, but as a content creator who wants the content, no, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
No.
And from that, I suppose, we can go into, unless you have your final take on the Rally Adventure expansion, Josh.
I'm yawning at it. I don't know. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, to be honest.
Build a rally monster as if it's not going to be, I guarantee you, not a single new, like, performance customization part. It's just going to be build a rally monster as in max out your car and then put the default Forza body kit on it, which will be that...
waiting for Forza Aero.
Yeah. It's just Forza Aero, but 4 lights and a bar, basically.
Yeah.
But... from that into the gaming segment, in the final segments of the Stick Drift podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe, watch the podcast 50 billion times. Unless it's against YouTube's TOS for me to tell you to give us watch time in that case, don't do it. But this week in gaming and racing games, like we talked about, the Forza gets its big reveal on its new expansion. On top of that, I guess I'll run through the weekly stuff first, and then we'll talk about big news in Gran Turismo. It's currently the Beyond Space Summit in the Crew 2, with the rewards being parts, light blue rewind tint, and a Ford F-150 SVT Raptor Outer Space Edition. It's a pickup truck with a goddamn UFO in the back. That's the exclusive reward for this week. Then we've got Best of Blizzard next week. Then one final week of this update with the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo Black Knight Edition. In Forza Horizon, we have... I'm just clearing my throat.
I was on the game yesterday, and I don't know.
I know what it is. It's just, I know what it is. I just, you know, I was gonna say that, and then it's, oh no.
It's a car.
Well, obviously, you know, the expansion, we should mention that first. I should mention that first, actually.
The expansion's a thing, and
they're in spring. They're in spring of, they're in spring
I don't think this one's named.
Is it not? Is it not the JDM one still? I feel like it's been the JDM.
I don't remember seeing any JDM. There was Renault's last time I was on, so unless I don't think it's JDM.
If it is JDM, it's been that for like 5 months now. But here's an interesting thing. You know what? I'll bring this up before we talk about GT7. So I saw a video by Eric Ship the other day. It was about a possible Forza 6, sorry, right? What's your take on the possibility of a Forza Horizon 6 China? Just on a surface level. I'll explain why and what the whatever's behind it is, but what's your surface level take on a Chinese Forza Horizon 6?
The map's the least of Forza's issues. It could be on Ascot, like it could be in the middle of the ocean for like it needs good gameplay mechanics, and they just seem to focus on the sandbox aspect of the game instead of the actual gameplay.
And like when's the last time they updated the Battle Royale? When's the last time they updated the event lab?
When was the last time they updated in Shenmue?
Exactly, right.
They don't update anything of the core game. It's just add stuff and don't fix what's broken.
Big map expansion or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it was actually a very interesting video by Eric Ship that I watched. It was about how the next possible expansion could be, you know, expansion. The next game could be China, mostly because, and I think you mentioned this as well, there's been an alarming amount of cars, and I think you said something to do with the communities kind of noticed it too. a alarming amount of Chinese market cars. Like, a lot of Chinese market cars.
They want advertising is why, and they're
Yeah.
easy to get to convince a license.
As well as, very recently, this game specifically, got approved. It's one of the main, like, Microsoft has been heavy leaning into China recently, and Horizon...
Big market.
Yeah, exactly, right? Horizon 5 is, I think, the biggest Microsoft, biggest Xbox game in China. Like, completely. I'd assume mostly because it's, this is a complete assumption, mostly because it's always also East Asian. I'd assume PlayStation's probably already big there, but, like, also half the things are, like, locked off in China, so I don't even know what's allowed in China at this rate. But, yeah, presumably to have good relations, they've been adding a lot of Chinese cars, and apparently there was a lot of Mexican cars that started getting into Forza Horizon 4 near the end, and there was a lot of British cars in Forza Horizon 3 near the end. So there's and like a lot of Australian cars apparently in Forza Horizon 2 near the end. So there's a big chance, given the fact that, you know, they've just entered the Chinese market, given the fact that they're getting really big in the Chinese market, trying to kiss up to the Chinese market, trying to do everything they can to support a largely unethical government, quote me on it,
I mean,
really
you gotta
unfortunate.
support those unethical practices in the pursuit of profit.
Exactly, you know. Hey, at least they're not Disney. They're not just gonna straight up thank a concentration camp, right? So, you know...
Not yet, at least.
Not
No,
yet,
that's
you know.
Horizon 7.
Exactly, right, you know, they're not gonna exactly go, oh, the Lincoln Code 2, thank you to the CCP for letting us, render this car, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for the MGSS edition.
Yeah, our car model.
Oh, God.
The level... I'm about to say the most easy, blatant joke I've ever made. The level up system will be, what's it called?
Social credit.
Social credit! Come on, that one was easy. That one was easy. You just start getting cars removed as you level down. Oh,
you ram in PvP and I don't know, your screen goes red and all your cars are leaving your garage or something.
You know what I just thought of, right? So, here's the thing, because one, like I was going to say, it's really unfortunate that China has such a massive market share in the world, because it means that brands have to buckle at the knee and cater to them to not lose that audience, right? Like, how Disney does insanely unethical practices like shrinking, African-American actors on their posters, covering the faces of African-American actors in their posters, going, yay, yippee, we have our first LGBTQ kiss scene, and then removing it for Asian markets.
Money.
You know, exactly, right? Money, it's so...
The larger the brand, the less they care.
Exactly, right? Like, it's so unfortunate that such an unethical country has such a big power over...
I mean, they've only gotten that powerful by not caring about their citizens. So.
Exactly, right. So, it's incredibly unfortunate is what it is. It's wildly unfortunate. So, you know, so Forza also buckling the knee. And what I was going to say is, what's the likelihood, right, the moment it becomes slightly controversial? Because maybe it won't. Maybe they go, hey guys, Forza 6 in China, and everyone goes, sure? But the moment it becomes controversial, how long till the livery creator is filled with anti-CCP, the leader of China is Winnie the Pooh, because that's the thing that gets you banned there.
Tiananmen Square liveries, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, what is it? Is it Hong Kong? Is that China, or is that someone else? What's the
I think that's a whole different political debate, to be honest.
There's one. I think they both have their own ones, where they're like, this country's ours, this place isn't a country, it's ours, actually. And Russia's joining that too now, so...
England can't really say much about that, because
exactly, so yeah, that's unfortunate.
Century, so...
We kind of went the whole country, the whole world's ours now, so...
There's the reason Argentina doesn't like us.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like there's gonna be, especially with how they buckled down on the Rising Sun, right? I feel they're gonna start having to dish out perma bans for a single anti-CCP livery. Because if there becomes too many of them, you know, people were posting that stuff on YouTube, and they blocked YouTube. It wasn't like they blocked the people on YouTube. They blocked YouTube. They post stuff on, you know, on a platform, and that platform gets blocked. I reckon they're gonna have to, like, really buckle down on it, because if it becomes too much, they're gonna have to go to the CCP and be like, no, it's still a Chinese thing, we're banning them all, we don't like it, actually, please give us money, right? And that sucks. I think that's gonna be very quick to happen, and it'll be unfortunate, but it's unfortunate that it's having to happen in the first place, right? And I think no matter what happens, it'll probably, I would say they could go on to Forza Horizon 7. It could be, who cares where it is? I think if any Forza Horizon game is set in China, that'll be like a money printer in the background. I reckon that'll be massive in China if they really heavy lead into it. Oh, you know how they do, like, oh no. Like they do that, like the Heritage of Mexico one. But
That would be brilliant. That would actually be brilliant. I'd love that one.
Oh, and it's just a shield for the CCP. Oh no. It's just a story where you're driving and it's just like, don't drive above the speed limit.
Just rewriting historical events. Like, that didn't happen. Oh.
Exactly right. It's just like, nope, they were always part of China while you're driving. Oh, no. Well, to be fair, isn't TDU... But it's set on... I don't know...
Hong Kong Island, not Hong Kong itself.
Yeah. So that
It's like 2 levels detached from...
I think it's... Is it like Hawaii, where it's America, but, like, not really, I think? Is it something like that?
It's like 2 miles off the coast of Hong Kong, is the issue.
Yeah. Which is, you know, I assume... Well, TDU's using it just as a location for the map. Forza seems to like to lean in on the heritage of the area, which they did for the British one.
They might go traditional and not more modern.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I doubt they're going to have, like, a Genghis Khan one, you know, which...
That would be a banger update.
Which,
that's expansion 1.
To be fair, they didn't do, like, you know, who's a British tyrant? Like...
Anyone, to be honest, I don't know.
I was going to say Wisconsin, not Wisconsin. What's his name? Winston Churchill. And, you know...
Condescending stag, whoever is in the US.
They didn't do, is it Pablo for Mexico? Whichever one that is, right?
Pablo Escobar, yeah, that would have been a great expansion.
That's what they should do. They should do at least one story.
You're smuggling coke across the country.
Exactly. They should do at least one story for the country's famous tyrants. Who is an Australian tyrant? I don't know an Australian tyrant now that I think about it. Us is the issue there. Yeah, us. The king, I imagine. So, yeah, that was just an interesting thing because I saw that video. It was quite interesting. And I think it brings up very interesting questions like, how's the audience going to react? Are they going to be able to lean into the heritage of the place? And I think you're right. They're going to have to stick to traditional heritage than they will modern heritage. Cause...
I mean, China has some really nice looking places.
Yeah.
Ignoring the politics.
Exactly, right? So that'll be kind of cool.
It's just how much money does the China government give Turn 10 and Playground.
I feel like the livery creator and Forza is gonna be like Twitch and its Twitch streamers, right? It's like they're gonna have to, they'll just stream copyrighted stuff, or they'll just do things that are absolutely atrocious, but Twitch doesn't actually want to ban them, but they have to, but they can't stop them either. So they just have to be like, guys, stop it, please. Please stop. Please. We're running a business here, please. Yeah. And that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. But in other news, Gran Turismo, other gaming news in the gaming segment, Gran Turismo gets its monthly update with 5 cars. It's not 5. 2 of them are the exact same.
5 asterisks.
Yeah. So let me actually look this up before I talk.
There's an old Honda F1 car, an old 911.
Gran Turismo.
And then 2 Vision Gran Turismos in there. And I don't know what the last one is. It's quite irrelevant.
Did I send it to you? I must have sent it to you. I'll look for me sending it to you. Because I'm not going to find it in any other way. It is... Oh, pardon me. Somewhere. Why can't I search Gran Turismo? I can't find it. I actually can't find it. There it is. So, it's a Porsche 911. Oh! It's a car which I saw,
Oh, a Citroen. Like DS.
Yeah. And...
DL, DX. I don't know what they call them.
Yeah. And as a testament to Gran Turismo's quality, you know, it's the thing that the car has in real life. When you turn the wheels, the inside of the front headlights turn, and they've actually implemented that into Gran Turismo, which is actually kind of cool, right? Like, that's a little detail that's kind of cool to include. And then yeah, it's a 911. It's a old F1 car, and then it's 2 bloody It's 2 Vision Gran Turismos that look really bad, admittedly.
Yeah.
Is that how bad all of those normally look? Because that looks
They look
really
like prototype Hot Wheel cars, and they usually do.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Like the wheels as well. Who are they? Mercedes.
It does look very Mercedes, but they're like GTA wheels with just the Benny's rims.
They're like Rocket League wheels. It's a Rocket League car.
Yeah. Kind of a pointless update, really.
Yeah, and they got a few. They got a new map, I believe. Pretty cool. It's whatever. I think it definitely made sense to not have this in the main show and put it in the gaming segment. Not a lot else going on in gaming. Goose just did a video recently about like what on earth happened to CarX PC. Like, what even happened? They released it on mobile. Did they just see the money and run? Like, what happened to CarX PC?
CarX is such a small development studio, they can't get it to work properly.
Yeah, because
they took on more than they can chew. They can't. With how small their dev team is, they can't get it to really do.
Yeah, it just seems like they're really, really, really struggling with getting it to work in the slightest. But of course, we'll have to see. It's whatever, I guess. What other racing games even are there? And is anyone else even doing anything in racing games?
No one's really announced anything. TDU's dead silent. Forza Motorsports dead silent.
Yeah, I mean, what's up with Motorsport? That had its own thing like a little bit ago, wasn't it? It was like the new...
Well over above, but yeah, the trailer.
Yeah. But not a lot
Those
else.
cars.
Oh! Forza added a Toyota, but it was like an old Toyota. It was like a... What was it? A Toyota Sport 800. I thought it was pretty cool. That's the 2 cars, the Toyota Sport 800 and the Nissan Sentra Nismo. It's pretty cool looking. The Toyota thing, it's pretty aight. It's aight.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before, but it's cool, I guess. But on to, well, there's actually motorsports news to talk about.
Not really.
Motorsports Monday, the segment filmed exclusively on a Saturday and uploaded on a Sunday. Take it away, Josh.
There isn't really much to talk about, just pre-season testing.
Yeah, so I saw like a catch-up video on that. Stuff happened. Williams did like a run that was second, and then went down to 8th or something?
They did it on tyres softer than everyone else.
Yeah.
So it basically means it's irrelevant, and you don't know the actual performance.
Yeah.
Jogo and you did a glory run on C5s yesterday and was first, but it's like, ooh, he was on the softest tyre by miles. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton's car just started falling apart, and then his teammate drove over the part, which was something to do with that. Like,
Bottas's car decided to just fall apart today as well.
It's quite close though, right? Like, if I'm not wrong, the thing is quite close. The start of it.
Next week is the first race.
Yeah. So it's weird to me that cars are just able to lock up and fall apart.
This is the first time they've been able to drive them.
Yeah.
They've limited testing time.
Yeah.
So.
It's weird.
But the locking up the wheels is because of setup issues. It's not really. They're on brand new tyres, like their new Formula Pirelli tyres, so no one's driven on them before.
Yeah.
They're on new tyres in new cars. They're gonna lock up the front wheels, especially on Bahrain.
Does it mean anything's up with the what's up with the whatevers then? Is it Is it a thing? Is it a what's going on then? What does this mean for the F1 series?
No idea. It's
Oh.
testing.
Well,
I think Williams might be third slowest. McLaren are having massive issues with that car.
oh, I mean, I suppose speaking of motorsports, you started actually watching, and I probably
Drive to
will. I
Survive.
just don't really have the time in general in a day. But you started watching Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
I don't know, mini review.
They over-dramatize absolutely everything. Like, I remember they showed Verstappen overtaking Hamilton on, I think it's episode 2 or something.
Yeah.
When the Mercedes is slower in a straight line, and Verstappen had overtake and DRS.
Mm.
And they come to the entire team cheering. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
It's just... yeah, it's F1, but they've edited it to make it look like it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's essentially what I can say.
I was gonna say, like, what even is there really? It's like they've reality TV showed it, right?
Yeah.
I guess. But on that note, that's basically about it for this episode of the Stick Drift podcast. Podcast for all things car culture, racing games, and motorsports. We're getting very close to our 20th episode of the Stick Drift podcast. And we are
We'll
at
demolish a
1,000.
building for that episode.
Exactly. That's
Stay
what will
tuned.
happen. Quote us on it, because we'll do it. Remind us, too. But yeah, we've hit 1,000 subscribers. We
Need 4,000 hours of watch time now.
we are closing in on 1,000 hours of watch time, which I don't think we were closing in on. Like, that's a quarter of the way, and I don't think we were closing in on that quick before, right? So, yeah, that's going to be about it from us, boys.
Yep.
See
Make
you
sure to
boys
comment,
next
I've
week.
watched 8 times.
Obviously, if this is your 25th watch, now you can end the podcast.
Now you're allowed to
You can-
comment that,
You're allowed
yeah.
you're allowed to unclick loop. Obviously, if this isn't, either click loop or leave it clicked. Unless it's against YouTube
Unless
TOS.
it's against...
In
You need a
which
pop-up
case,
that comes up
don't
on
do
screen,
it.
unless it's against TOS.
Yeah,
please
exactly.
don't.
You know, and it's not going to be my job to check it. You should check it. But yeah, we'll see you boys next week. That's about it from us. All right, in a
Yeah, that's before. Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.